Hello everyone, this is Malvika Kulkarni, clinical and sports nutritionist, yoga wellness instructor and a CPT. First of all, wishing you all a very happy Doctor's Day. A happy Doctor's Day to all the brilliant doctors over there who are doing great work. Today we are going to start a series of new videos which are related to nutrition and dietetics and which will be covering the most searched topics on the internet. So first in line, we are going to talk about plant-based nutrition. And when I'm talking about plant-based nutrition, I'm specifically talking about plant-based protein sources that we are going to speak about. So what are the most common sources of proteins that we derive from plant sources? We know usually, typically in the Indian diet or diet across all other countries these days, protein sources which include lentils, legumes, pulses. So these may include chickpeas, which we call chole, rajma, moong, masoor, tur dal. Also some other sources of protein from plants which we don't talk about commonly. One of them being amaranth, which we call rajgira, or there is hemp seeds, which is found in northern countries, northern part of the country or in the western countries. And there is spirulina as well, which still needs a lot of research. And of course peanuts. Peanut is a legume, so even these sources of proteins can be considered. Now, when we talk about plant-based sources of proteins, one thing that we need to be mindful about is that plant sources of proteins are not complete proteins by themselves, so they need a food combination. And that is why typically in the Indian diet or many other diets, we see that there is a certain combination of food that is being consumed. For example, when we talk about say a lentil base like moong dal or masoor dal, we typically have it with a portion of rice because some of the elements or some of the essential amino acids from the lentil are missing, which can be completed through addition of a cereal. Okay, so common combinations that we see across the world or in our country as well is rice with any lentil portion, peanut butter with whole grain toast, pita and hummus. So these are the combinations that you can utilize. We're going to make a few comparisons now with plant-based protein sources and non-plant-based protein sources. Okay. Firstly, one benefit that you can derive when you are more plant-based in terms of your protein source also is the addition of fiber. So because you have addition of fiber, there are lower chances of having constipation. Or because there is addition of fiber, there is also cholesterol lowering properties in these proteins. So if someone has an issue of constipation or any GI disorders, and if someone has a cholesterol problem, high LDL cholesterol problem, then they can think of replacing some of their meals with a plant-based protein source. Coming to the biological value of plant-based protein sources. So this is something that we should understand, that biological value means at what rate you are able to absorb that protein source. This is higher in most of the non-plant-based protein sources. Like typically if you see a biological value of dairy sources or eggs is between say around 85 to 95, whereas those of plant-based protein sources like lentils, legumes, they are between say the highest one is around 75 or the others are lower than that. So if you are looking for something which is easily absorbable, specifically if you are an athlete, then you might consider not being purely plant-based but also adding some of vegetarian sources of protein, like for example a whey protein supplement or a dairy-based source of protein. Okay. Then thirdly, we're talking about some of the products of plant-based protein sources like soybean or soy-based products like tofu. So considering all the biological values of proteins from plants, soybean or tofu has the highest biological value, but still it is deficient in methionine, so it still needs some amount of food combining to be able to be considered a full protein, complete protein source. Secondly, people with certain conditions like thyroid patients would have to be mindful on the amount of soy-based products that they can consume, as this may hamper with their thyroid medication. So typically, maybe consuming soy-based products once a week would be okay for them. Now, if you are someone who has an issue with diabetes, whose blood sugar level needs to be controlled, or if there are any other hormonal issues where you need to cap your carbohydrate consumption, then in that case you would have to replace some of your plant-based protein sources with maybe an alternative or a supplement. So for diabetics, being mindful of how much carbohydrates you are adding while adding your protein base from plant sources has to be checked. So this is something that we covered on plant-based protein sources. I hope this video is useful to you, and we'll be coming with a host of other videos as well. So stay in touch.